Hello, I'm James Helder. Welcome to a very special episode of the season so far. It's the turn of Tottenham Hotspurs. I'm joined by my esteemed guests and colleagues and family. I've got Stuart with me from pitch. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad, thank you.
Love that. Also joined by my cousin Elliot, who's customised his GTA character yet again. Looking suave. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. All good.
That's what I like to hear. Boys, I've got to start initially on the FA Cup defeat to Sheffield United last night.
Yeah, I knew you was going there first.
It's got to be the place to start, boys, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I can ask you initially, Elliot, what's your take on last night's defeat in the Cup to Sheffield United?
Team selection was all wrong, wasn't it, for starters? I mean, we've not won that in 31 years now. You'd think you'd start with Kane, but even coming with Mora instead of Danjuma, it's like, why'd you bring him in? It's just so much ifs and buts and maybes with Spurs, isn't there? But especially in these cup competitions, we're going out to championship sides. Like I think that's for the last 3 or 4 years now. But I don't get why we don't take it seriously. We're not going to win anything else, are we? I know there's always the Champions League dream, but it is just a dream. You know what I mean? So this year in the FA Cup, you could see. Look at the teams that are left. You know, you got your Blackburns, Burnleys. I know we've been knocked out by Sheffield United, but you'd like to think if we would have got through that, you got a chance of getting to Wembley. It's just like we always seem to just drop the ball.
Yeah. Do you agree with Elliot, Stuart, that they should be concentrating more on the cups to try and end that jinx without a trophy?
Yeah, 100%. It's like the big joke was other teams' fans, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, what you won then? What you won? We just need to win something just to shut them up. And it's Spurs, like the FA Cup, as Elliot said, was our biggest opportunity to win something. Because other than Man City and Man United, there ain't no one else really in it. I know, yeah, there's that other North London team, but don't worry about them too much. It was our biggest opportunity. So you see that team you put out last night and you think, okay, yeah, it's only Sheffield United. But Sheffield United also didn't put out a full-strength team and they still beat us.
Yeah.
It's like, it's our biggest opportunity to win. He should have just put out the best team we could and gone for it, Because as I said, we're not going to win the Champions League. We're going to struggle to get top 4. I know we're there now, but we've played 2 more matches in Newcastle. So, I'm still not holding my breath about that. We're not going to do nothing else. So why put out a crap team? It don't make any sense. Richard. And to rub salt in the wounds, the bloody announcements for the manager of the month and all that comes out today, and Conte's up for manager of the month. It's like, don't make no sense either. It's like, what? Are you taking the piss now? We lose last night, and then he's nominated for manager of the month when he hasn't even been manager for the month. It's like, what? Oh, I don't know. It's just beggars belief, the whole thing.
Richard Poxon from Pitch and Johnny Gascoigne, the editor, and also presenter from Championship Chat, and they were at the game last night, and they told me that Sheffield United pretty much started their reserve team.
Yeah, they did.
So not only have you got beat by a Championship side, you've got beat by their second string side.
Yeah. It's that fifth round jinx, isn't it? Middlesbrough last year, or was it Norwich the year before? We get to the 5th round of the FA Cup, we play a Championship team, we put out some old crap ourselves and we lose. It's just what happens. It's a Spurs thing now. Next year we're going to get, I don't know, Gillingham in the 5th round and probably lose that and all.
Yeah, it's been a bit iffy, isn't it? Let's talk about Spurs in the Premier League. On a good run of form, 2 good wins on the bounce. Wolves next. Are they in the race for the top 4 this season? Are they legitimate contenders to get Champions League football? Going to go straight to Elliot on this one.
James, somehow we are. And we done it last season. God knows how we just scraped through, but we do. Because of Conte, but the style of play that we're having to watch to get us there, it goes back to last night, that sort of football, especially when you lose the game. You go and see a couple of wins against Chelsea and West Ham. It's amazing. But the week before that, you lose 4-1 to Leicester. You just don't know what you're going to get. and we're never going to push on. We'll be lucky to get top 4, in my opinion. You know, I think that will just be due to Liverpool having a bit more come the end of the season. And if you look at Spurs, there's a lot of losers in there now. A lot of players who have lost a lot of games, and I think they've got used to it. Do you know what I mean? It sounds quite sad, but if you look at players like Dyer, Sanchez, Davis, and you could go on even to Son and Kane, they got used to losing, you know, and there's not been a proper refresh of the squad, like down the spine. That's where the problems are, and they've not refreshed, and I think they've got used to losing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
To finish off on that, I wouldn't see us getting top 4, not this season. I can't see it.
Stuart, what's your take with Tottenham for top 4 this season? Have they got enough about them under Conte to secure Champions League football?
No. I think the only reason we're in 4th place at the moment is because, other than Arsenal and at the moment Man United, nobody in the league is doing very well. Like, nobody is. It's anybody could beat anybody at the moment. You know, look how bad Liverpool. Look at Chelsea. It don't make the league at the moment. Just doesn't make any sense, and we're there out of pure luck, because even the matches that we've won out of pure luck. We've just kind of, as much as I like Conte and I was happy when he came, we've kind of turned into the old Tottenham, where one week we're beating Man City. And literally what happened, one week we beat Man City, and then the next week we're getting thrashed by Leicester.
Yeah.
One week we're beating Chelsea, and then we lose to Sheffield United. And this is like, you know, I haven't been a Spurs fan for over 35 years. That's how it's always been. We can beat the best teams, and then the following week we'll lose to complete shite. And you're like, what? There was a couple of years, like when Pochettino was in charge, where that weren't happening. We had that consistency. Whereas now we're slowly getting back into that, what people call Spursy thing of, we'll go out and beat City, and then we'll get knocked out of the cup by Sheffield United. That's what we've always done, and that's what we're still doing. So 4th place, if we do get 4th place, it will be because everyone else is still playing poorly. But I can't see it. I still think Liverpool are going to nick it, to be honest.
How would you describe the football under Conte?
Boring.
Oh, mate, it's turgid.
It's boring.
It's absolutely turgid. I mean, week in, week out, it is dross.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter who we're playing. You know, we're relying on them to make a mistake. You saw it against Sheffield United. You know, a second string, they made 8 changes. You know, and we can't get about them like that. You know, we didn't create one clear-cut chance, I wouldn't say, yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And that's just, you know, it's just turgid. And we're relying on teams to make a mistake and just trying to keep them 2 blocks. But it's just so boring, you know?
Are you prepared for the long haul of this system? Conte's not going to change the way he plays, is he? Yeah, he may get better players in to suit that system, but are you prepared as a Tottenham fan to get used to that style of football?
No. But the thing is, it goes back to the board as well, doesn't it? Because Conte's he's not going to change his style for Tottenham. Definitely. He's expecting Levy to get the players in the positions that he wants. But, you know, it's calling out for 3 in the midfield in some games, or just something different, or a creative midfielder kind of breaking the lines. We haven't got that. Doesn't matter what's happening in the match. Conte will just keep 5 at the back, and it'll just be rigid subs, like for like.
See, this is what I don't understand about him, because when he was at Inter Milan, he had that 3-4-3 system that he plays with us, but then he also had a backup, like a 3-4-2 that
We've
he'd play
seen
as well.
Once, didn't we? Maybe, yeah.
And he'd flip, depending on what was going on, he'd flip between the two. But with us, he doesn't seem to want to do that. He doesn't do that at all. It's like that's his system. Doesn't matter who we're playing. Doesn't matter if they're a Championship team or it's Manchester City. That's how we're playing. But you can't go out against a team that's supposedly lesser than us. No disrespect to Sheffield United, and play how you would play against Manchester City, because it's a completely different ball game. Literally, you know, you play against the lesser teams. You play higher up the pitch, and you play more, you know, direct and whatnot. You don't still play defensively. You still don't keep 5 men behind the ball when it goes in your area against a team that's in the relegation zone or in the Championship. And he doesn't seem to have a plan B with us. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, maybe it's me thinking I'm great because I play Football Manager, but sometimes you think, well, stick Richarlison up the top and put Kane in behind him as a number 10, because Kane can do that now. We know he can, but he won't. He'll like I'll take Kane off and put Richarlison. It's like, no, come on. There's something. There's a bit of creativity in the middle. And now Ben Tanker's out for the season as well. He's the only bit of creativity we had. It's like, what can we do? There's no way out of it. There's no way out of it. And he's not going to bother doing anything now because he knows he's going in the summer, because he ain't staying, is he? Like,
do you think he's going to go?
Yeah, absolutely. His contract runs out this summer, and he's not going to sign a new one, because he don't, with any other team, he doesn't stay for any longer than 2, maybe 3 years at a push. He hasn't done with Chelsea, with anyone. He sure as hell ain't going to do with us, is he? He's not got the players that he wants. The team isn't doing what he wants. The league is a lot harder than what it was when he was at Chelsea. So he's not going to just walk in and win it. He's the fact that, you know, I know he had an operation. He had his gallbladder out, didn't he? But he's been in Italy now for what, 2.5 weeks? My missus was back at work the next day when she had hers out, and she won't get paid 100 grand a week. Why is he still in Italy? His heart's not in it. So no, he's not going to sign a new contract. So he don't give a shit now, does he?
And the players know it. That's the thing as well. The players know he's gone. So, you know, you'll have uncertainty around Kane now, because he's thinking, well, if he ain't re-signing, why should I? He's going through all these recycles. It's just going to come to an end soon with Kane, ain't it? And even with Sonny, with all our top players, people will start sniffing around. And they'll, you know, if Conte goes, where do we go from there? I mean, it sounds like, you know, people say, oh, Nick Potter or Tuchel, but it's just like, how many times are we going to go down the Chelsea light route? And just, it's not going to work.
No.
You know, I'd rather have Pochettino back just for the football. But the other thing is like, as much as we hate to say it, that's why it's frustrating us. What you're seeing down the road with Arsenal, that I said to you, didn't I, James, when it first started? I said, it looks like the Pochettino era. But at least we didn't win anything. But, mate, we'd take them days back any day now, wouldn't we? You know, we'd have it instantly if we could.
At least we thought we was going to win something when Pochettino was in charge. Like, there was, again, as you know, as a Spurs fan, we're a pessimistic bunch. Like, we go into every season like, oh no, we're not going to win nothing, but, you know, keep our fingers crossed. When Pochettino was in charge, it was like, we might win it. We might. You never know.
It's a real dream, wasn't it? Rather than just kind of, you know, what we're thinking now. It's not a lot, is it?
No. Sorry.
Magnified by the fact that you look like you were closing the gap on Arsenal last season. Where you
went past them.
You stopped and halted Arsenal's title run. You cost them the Champions League football. Is it frustrating that the club in particular, maybe Levi, Conte, they haven't acted and brought in the players to widen that gap?
I think they tried to.
The gap's going the other way, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But I think they tried to with Bissouma and Richarlison and Perisic. We was all over the moon, but it ain't worked out. But any smart Spurs fan would have known at the end of last season that Arsenal was going to progress, you know. And we've just gone down a totally different. We keep changing model. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
And it's just affecting us. We're seeing it now with players who, you know, look at Ndombele and Lo Celso, people who've been on loan. We're not going to get nothing back from them, near enough 100 million, and we can't get them off the book. So it's harder to get players in, especially the way we know how ENIC operate. It's just very difficult.
I read a stat that said that Eriksen had gone away.
Yeah, I know.
Had a heart attack.
He come back to life.
Won a trophy before Tottenham. The killer.
Oh, you got to laugh. You got to laugh, haven't you?
You have to, because like you just go completely nuts otherwise. You just go completely. You got to laugh along with all this sort of stuff. You know, unfortunately, as Spurs fans, we're used to this sort of thing, so we can. But we shouldn't be. You know, that we was up there at one point. Yeah, we didn't win nothing, but we was there or thereabouts for a good few years. And
let's talk a little bit about Harry Kane. Broke the record set by Jimmy Greaves. Big thing to do.
Yeah.
Putting on that record. Tottenham coincidentally were waiting as well and got the worst graphic I've ever seen. Like
What's that? The tifo?
Oh, mate, it's the worst one I've ever seen. Whoever
It
Spurs
weren't
graphics,
the best. It wasn't the best.
Whoever designs them graphics ain't a Spurs fan, I'll tell you. But let's talk a little bit about Harry Kane. He is the talisman of Spurs. He's been the face of many era. He's still considered to be the main man. So probably one of the best number 9s in the world, if I'm being brutally honest.
100%.
Is he going to commit to a new manager, a new regime, a new outlook on the club? Do you think his time of being held a football prisoner at Tottenham Hotspur coming to an end? What's your take on it?
He's going to, I would say, if he's got any sense, he will go to Man United or Newcastle. 2 teams who are on the up. I don't want him to go to either. I'd love to see him see it out with us, but I just can't. I think he's give us more than enough. But there's the argument that he hasn't turned up in finals. I don't go along with that. I just think he's, I think he's been outstanding. He's got 20 plus goals a season for us now for how long? Coming on 10 years. I mean, that's some record. That he's one of the best in the world. But I mean, people talk about Haaland, but if he was in that Man City team, he'd be getting this. He'd have the same amount of goals, I reckon.
Haaland scores the amount of goals he's got because of the players that are playing behind him.
Yeah.
The difference between Haaland and Harry Kane is that Harry Kane will set up almost as many goals as he scores. Haaland don't. It's a completely different kind of players. You look at that. Was it 2 years ago where he won the Golden Boot and had the most assists in the same season?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Haaland don't do that.
No.
And other centre forwards don't do that unless your name's Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. Not that I'm saying Kane's anything like them either, but I mean,
his stats and output have been phenomenal, haven't they?
It's ridiculous.
The problem you've got is he's your biggest asset, and he's also got 12 months left on his contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big thing. It's a big thing.
It's all going to come down to who we get in the summer. Like, if Conte walks, and he probably will, it's going to be dependent on who comes in. I'm not sure if Pochettino will be enough. As much as he loved playing under Pochettino, his initial rumblings of wanting to leave was when Pochettino was in his last season, wasn't it? But then you've got to factor in that we were bad then because we hadn't signed anyone for 2 years. So it's like, I don't know. There's too many factors, but I wouldn't begrudge him leaving either now. I wouldn't want him to go to Newcastle. Definitely not. Man United, he'd smash it to bits at Man United. He really would. But I'd hate him to go there because I don't like Man United. But he would do so well, and you wouldn't begrudge him that. You wouldn't begrudge him it. He's stayed with us for so long and done so well and got nothing for it.
Yeah, I think it's because of obviously the Premier League record now is what he's going to be eyeing up. I mean, that's as big as any trophy, in my opinion. I know it's an individual honour, but, that's something he'll always have. And that's why I can't see him, if he does move on, he's obviously going to stay in the Premier. He ain't going to let that record lie.
No, he's going to go for that. He's going to get it, like, unless he has some season-ending injury, next. Because he's just hit 30, or he's coming up to 30. The way he plays, he's not a pace player. He's a clever player, so he's easily got 5, maybe even 6 years still in him.
Yeah, definitely.
He could easily get another 100 Premier League goals.
How much do you value him at?
Harry Kane?
Yeah.
It's priceless. It's priceless to us, mate.
It's priceless. Well, the thing is, it depends what you go on. If you look at the silly money that have gone for average players, then he's well over 100, 150, 160.
You've got to factor his age in now, though, ain't you? And the length of contract.
The contract is the sticking point for me.
Yeah. He'll go for 100. I reckon it'll be about 80 now. He's worth a lot more, but,
Well, with a year left, 80.
Yeah.
I mean, if the contract, say if he had like 3 years left on a contract, say, then you're looking at 150, 160.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You're right.
But I think the age as well is obviously going to bring the value down slightly.
You can understand the frustration, though, boys, a little bit. Imagine when he goes away with England.
I know. He's got all them winners around him.
He's the captain, and they're talking about what they've won and medals and this and that. He's
I know,
got,
and they all look up to him, James, as well.
he's
They
an
all look up
inspiration
to
as
him, and
well.
you know, they talk about him in training how unbelievably is he deserves a lot more. But you know, it's in Tottenham's DNA, and it was a good example of that last night, weren't it? You know, you've got a real chance to win a trophy. But I'm starting to wonder if that's just the ENIC way of thinking. It's just ingrained that top 4 gets us more money.
Do you think
You know?
they're
I don't even care about that anymore.
Do you think they're the problem, Enoch?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100%. Like when they put more emphasis on what's going on at the stadium as opposed to the football that's going on at the stadium, you know that something's wrong. You know, like it seems that having NFL matches, having concerts, and having Formula One go-karting
You got the go-kart in there?
Yeah, all of that's far more important than Tottenham actually winning anything.
Yeah.
It's there's too much. There's too much other than football going on there. And you think, well, okay, if you can afford all this, if you can put all your efforts into all of this sort of shit, then why can't you do the same for the football club?
Mm.
And they just don't care. You just need to look at Levy sometimes and you just think, he really don't care. It's all money.
Yeah. But if you look at the model, it kind of makes sense. Like you were saying earlier, there's a lot of clubs like Liverpool and Chelsea who are having a bit of an off-season. They'll be back next year. We always seem to consistently float around that top 4 spot. And there's a reason for that, because Levy would just invest so much just to keep you hanging on, you know. But we never take the next step. And we can't say we haven't had the opportunities, because under Poch, we're two or three away from dominating, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of it. And, you know, people might think that's a bit of an outrageous thing to say, but it's not. That's where we was as a club at the time.
If you look at that two season span, like if it wasn't for a freak Leicester season and a wrong handball, we could have had a Champions League and a League Cup.
Yeah.
And winning the league. And it was feasible. It was completely feasible. There was just a couple of freakish things, or a freakish and a stupid thing that happened, and we didn't. And I know, but again, it's another running joke, in it, with Spurs winning that. You know, we came close cup. We'd had the top goal scorer cup, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, like, we did come close. Closest we've ever been. And closer than a lot of other teams are likely to.
Yeah.
Now, but as you say, we just float around, you know, between 4th and 6th. That's our spot.
Do you think because Chelsea and Liverpool alike have been so bad this year, and you haven't got them two breathing down the necks for top 4 as well, do you think that's paper over the cracks a little bit at Tottenham? The fact that they
100%.
are in the league.
Yeah, 100% papered over the cracks. 100%. But that's the worry. They'll be back, and you're going to add Newcastle to it. I mean, they're in there this season, but next season they're definitely going to be pushing in there again. And I don't know. I don't even see the infrastructure with the scouting. If you look at teams like Brighton and what they do and the players they bring in, even Arsenal is starting to get clever. You look at certain players that they've brought in, but I don't see it with us. It just, you know, I just see it from a bit of a mess from top to bottom. And I'm quite a positive fan, and I think so. If you look at the way we've hung in the top 4 for the last couple of seasons, or there and thereabouts, it's amazing considering the squad we've got. But you know that ENIC will never give you that. If we need 4 players, they'll give you 3. But they'll never give you 5. They'll never go above and beyond. They'll just stay within their means to just float in that top 4 spot, you know?
Absolutely.
How much investment would it take to make Tottenham, to get them out of this everlasting spell of challenging of top 4, to make them into contenders? How much money would it take?
I don't know. It's like, okay, if we went into a new season and Harry Kane was like, all right, I'll stay till the end of my contract and we'll see, or I'll sign on for another year and we'll do this season and see. You know, Son this year has been awful, considering he was Golden Boot last year, and we all know that Son is a great, great player. He's been way off it this year. Kulusevski has been on and off, but the front 3 is fine. You know, if you put a creative player behind them, and got a left-sided defender, you know, we're kind of almost there, to be honest, because you can say left back, but let's not forget next year we're going to have Udogie back from loan, and he's far and away the best left back in Serie A at the moment, and we're going to have him next year because he's obviously, you know, we sent him out on loan. And Porro would have had 5-6 months or half a season almost to try and nail down that right back. So when you look at it like that, 100 million to get a decent defender and a decent creative midfielder. We need a goalkeeper, to be honest, as well. So maybe a bit more than that, because obviously Hugo is. I love Hugo to bits, but his time, he's done.
Yeah, he's shot to bits.
Yeah. Time for him to move over to coaching. I think keep him in the squad, not in the squad, in in the structure as a coach, you know, something like that. But it's time for him to take him behind the tool shed.
Do you see when there's people were speaking about clubs like Man United being taken over, for instance?
Yeah.
Are you a little bit envious as Tottenham fans, the fact that no one is ever linked with a Tottenham takeover?
Oh, mate, I'd love one.
Levy just don't ramp, does he? No
Just
one is
like
ever
himself.
linked with taking over Tottenham.
But do you know what, though? With that, it's interesting. You look at Newcastle's takeover. I think they said it was 400 million for that takeover.
Yeah.
And then you've got this lovely shiny toy, and you can buy all these players. If you're going to buy Spurs, you've got to spend over 4 billion before you even get going. So look at all that, you know, it makes sense to go for a club, even like a Leeds or a Newcastle or a Man City, because, you know, you've got more money to spend on the players then. If you're buying Spurs now, because they've got the go-kart and Beyonce, it's over 4 bill. No one's interested.
No. We had that. Who was it? There was some bloke when he was looking at it, and they were going, "Oh, he's going to offer 3.8 billion." And old Enoch was going, "No, we want 4.5." It's like, come on, please, just 3.8 billion. That's quite a nice chunk of change, considering, as you say, 400 million for Newcastle.
Yeah,
like, come on. And then they bugger off and go, "Oh no, we're going to go and buy Man United instead." And then what we're going to get is they're going to spend that on Man United, and then Man United is going to go on a tear up like they did in the 90s.
Yeah, Enoch have done everything good off the pitch, but on the pitch, I mean, they've won. What is it? They've had 1 League Cup in the time they've been there. Yeah. It's not even a major trophy, is it? The last time we won,
it is if you're a Man United fan.
Yeah,
it's the best thing since sliced bread.
But we haven't won the major since 1991, you know. But you'd think that Enoch have had the chances, and they're not interested in having a push. You can tell by last night's game. There's got to be a directive coming from the top if it's happening season after season, to say to the managers and the players, there's more of an emphasis on getting top 4 because that's where the money is.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. You need to go out and try and win one of these cup competitions, don't you?
Yeah, mate. I mean, we've had the Audi Cup, but we need a little bit more, James.
Yeah, the BMW Cup.
On that note, gentlemen, I've got to say I thoroughly enjoyed hearing your views on Tottenham Hotspurs. Thank you both for making yourselves available for Pitch Football. If you are watching this on our YouTube channel, please download our free app at Pitch Footy for all the latest news, gossip, fan interviews, content, competitions and giveaways. It's completely free. We just ask for an email at Pitch Footy, and hopefully we get a chance to engage with you in the future. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, El. Have a good evening. Right.